I think it has been changing a lot. The concept or reading and from a younger age, younger parents are becoming more and more aware of the benefits of reading, and its impact on cognitive development and also success in school and education, etc.
Hi, friends. This is Read and Write with Natasha podcast. My name is Natasha Tynes, and I'm an author and a journalist. In this channel, I talk about the writing life, review books, and interview authors. Hope you enjoy the journey. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Read and Write with Natasha. So today we have with us Egyptian children's author Miranda Bishara. In 2019, Miranda published her first children's book, Teta and Babisha. How do you call her name? Babacha?
Babka, Babka.
Bab- Babcha, yes, okay. I have it here. So her first children's book, Teta and Babcha, which is a kitchen tales from Egypt, Poland, and Syria. In 2022, she wrote her second book, an illustrated story for young adults entitled Jamila. Bishara also recently translated a junior novel from French to Arabic. So, Miranda, so happy to have you here. And thank you for sending me the book, Teta wa Babcha. And I enjoyed reading it. So,
Thank you, Natasha, for having me.
of course, my pleasure. So, before we start talking about your books, I want to just take a step back and talk about you a bit. So, when we first met, on a personal level, you were working in the field of microfinance. So, now it seems that you pivoted to becoming a storyteller, which is, an interesting shift. So I want to hear from you. Why did you decide to make the shift from finance to storytelling, and how did that happen?
All right. Well, when we met, yes, I was working in the field of microfinance, but I was still a storyteller because I think we're all storytellers when we work in the communications field. So when we met, I was the Arabic editor of the FinDev Gateway, which is a knowledge platform managed by a group within the World Bank called CGAP, and it basically has information around financial inclusion and microfinance in Arabic for the Arabic-speaking world. And this job involved, as you know very well, that we work closely together, like news and newsletter, writing blogs, interviewing, etc. So I honestly feel like the set of skills, in a way, are there. The core skills of you need to have a good story to tell, so people would read your article, would read your blog, would engage with you, and find your content engaging. So that said, I feel like I had there for writing, but I guess I was interested in telling a different story. So that's why I decided to switch and pivot, as you said, and kind of be more creative and write uh, stories and be engaged in the children's literature sphere more and more than just writing in microfinance and finance with all my.
Fascinating. So, why children's book? Why did you go to that genre instead of adult book or fiction or nonfiction?
Well, the story started with my first book, which was it's kind of personal memoir in a way, told from perspective of my daughter. So it was the questions of my daughter that kind of encouraged me to write that first book. And then because I live abroad with my two children, and I was very keen that to keep the Arabic language and heritage and culture alive. And one way or medium of doing that, in addition of speaking at home in Arabic, etc., is through books. and reading books and children's books. I was always on the hunt and the lookout for good quality, engaging, nice children's books. And the it's a scarce commodity, I would say. Sometimes, but in the recent years, there are a lot of publishers in the Arab world that are producing really great children's books. So at that point, when my kids were younger, I started to kind of share whatever book I would find in Arabic that is nice and share it among a community of other like-minded people, people who are living in the diaspora, etc. And little by little, I found that people do not know that children's books, good quality children's books in Arabic exist. Not only the people living abroad, but also people living in, Egypt or Jordan, etc. Because the concept of reading for pleasure and reading a book for children outside of the school curriculum is not that widespread in our
Mm.
region, unfortunately. So the concept of
Yeah.
a bedtime story, it was more of an oral history. I think we all have souvenirs or memories of our grandmothers or mothers or fathers telling us more oral stories, before bedtime stories. But nobody would take a book really and read except with very few exceptions. So this concept of I made me think that this is a field I would like to be more involved in, share more information about. So both as a writer, as a translator, and also as a book mediator, meaning like giving tips on how to read books to parents, educators, etc. And this is how we created, or I created in partnership with two other ladies, our initiative, which is called Heidi Baby, that we share book reviews, book list recommendations. So back to your initial question. Sorry, I go in rounds. So I started writing for children. It was based on the questioning of my daughter, who kept on asking me all sorts of questions about her identity growing up abroad, where I am from, etc., etc., etc. So I decided to, and our family and my husband and I, we come from a mix of cultures and religions, and we wanted to kind of, I wanted to write about this in a accessible way and kind of started as a personal documentation project. So it wasn't the purpose at the beginning to publish a book really. I was just doing it for my family. But then a dear friend of mine who works in the field of children's literature, she encouraged me. She told me this would make a great book. You should, go for it. So we actually, I interviewed the grandmothers. My daughter and I, we sat together. We wrote all the questions, that she would ask her grandmothers next trip, and we went and we interviewed the grandmothers. And I had the whole body of audio files of interviews, and I started writing. And I wasn't sure what would bring those stories together. I kept, thinking about it for a while until at the end I decided that. I think we're all come together around food, around the family table, regardless of our origins. We always like to share recipes. We like to eat together in all sorts of events and family events and moments. So I decided that food would be like the line, that connecting all the different stories in the book, and kind of it reads like an appetizer or an entree, and then the main dish, and a dessert in a way. So this is how it flows from one country to the other, from one grandma to the other. And I was lucky also that I had an excellent publisher who was very enthusiastic about it. So I got introduced to her by this friend who works in the children's literature field. And she got really excited about the book, and we worked together. I think it took us like maybe 3 years or so to get it out in the light from the minute I started writing it until it got published. And also, the adventure is completed, or the book also in itself. It's kind of a journey, visual journey, working with the illustrator. we wanted to have a special kind of illustration that is a mix between a journal, maybe a collage, a travel log, a recipe book. So kind of this how this to make all this come together. So we worked. I worked with Hiba Khalifa, who's an excellent visual artist, and she really nailed it. She went to the grandmother houses. She photographed, little objects here and there, and as you can see in the book, you will find mixes of different kinds of photo collages
Yeah.
and drawings, etc.
Yeah, it's very visually appealing. And you mentioned something very important, which is the concept of reading before bed, right? And yes, the oral storytelling. Like I remember my grandfather, Jiddo, used to tell us a story every night before we go to bed, and we all, until now, we remember it as adults, and we tell it to each other, and we just laugh about it. And but has the and I don't have memory of my parents reading to me before bed, because as you said, that's really not in our culture, or not in, maybe it's not common. And but that was back when, like, let's say 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, let's not say how many years ago.
But did things change, you think, now? Do you think parents, younger parents now, are doing that, and are they doing that in Arabic or in English? Because as you mentioned, the availability of Arabic children book, all of that. So I just want to hear from you, since you're the expert, where we are in terms of reading to children before bed in the Arab world, or at least in the area where you're familiar with, because the Arab world is not homogeneous. There's different areas. So from your experience, from your regional experience, what do you think?
I think it has been changing a lot. The concept or reading and from a younger age, younger parents are becoming more and more aware of the benefits of reading, and its impact on cognitive development and also success in school and education, etc. So I feel like there's more and more awareness nowadays for that. It's still it could be done. I feel it's done more in English and other languages than in Arabic in our region. But
Mm,
I think there are more and more initiatives and more books coming out and more people encouraging also bedtime stories in Arabic. Um, so I think it's changing slowly and it's coming. And also, there's a big movement. Some publishers are publishing, as you know, the Arab language has this problem of diglossia. I don't know if you know it. It's having two different levels of Arabic. You have the Fusha or the written classical Arabic, and then you have the dialect, which is the spoken Arabic. In different countries, you have different dialects, and even though we understand each other because of media and TV, etc., but for the younger kids, parents usually that's the challenge of an Arabic children's book for a younger age. They want to have a fun book, a rhyming book, a book that is in a language that is accessible to young children. And I think people are realizing that, and more, whether they're publishers or self-publishers that are publishing now books. I'm talking about preschoolers, like toddlers books that are more in colloquial, in dialect, that are rhyming, that are more closer to the children's environment. And then
mm,
when the child
mm,
goes to school and gets exposed to Arabic, as a language at school, I think here comes also we need to at home and at school to have a place for and at public the role also of public libraries and bookstores to have storytelling sessions, etc. And Uh, so the Arabic language is not alien for the younger generation. So it's not just that language that we study at school, and it's the language that is kind of obsolete that we have to learn. Uh, we want to, I think there's a movement now to make Arabic more accessible for younger kids.
So you think the parents who read to their kids in some areas of the Arab world prefer English uh, because we have sort of like two languages in Arabic. You have like the dialect, and then you have the classical Arabic, and that deters parents from reading in Arabic because they don't want to get into that, so they switch to English. Is that what's happening?
I think they feel it's easier for them, and also because it's a lot of effort to find the Arabic book to get it, and then when they find the Arabic book and it's in, for example, classical Arabic, they will not read it to their kids in classical Arabic. They will translate it into dialect, and it's they feel maybe it's an
Mm,
effort. And I feel like maybe parents who live in the Arab region, they don't maybe put a lot of effort into that because they see that the kids will get the Arabic anyway from school or from their environment, etc., which is not the case because we know some kids in the region do not speak Arabic. I think the
yeah.
parents who are more keen on the Arabic, I feel from what I've seen in my personal experience, are the people who are living abroad, who are trying to keep the heritage. I guess they're putting much more effort into sourcing and creating and making sure that Arabic is fun and engaging for their children. Not saying that there aren't parents like that in the Arab region. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but I feel like the needs are different and the approach is different depending on your situation and how you value the language and the culture and how you want to transmit it, I would say.
Yeah, and so what is the status of Arabic publishing? So are the majority of books are being published, the children's book in classical Arabic, or are there like kind of books that are published in the local dialects?
Okay, the
And do you
majority,
think we need, yeah, do you
yeah.
think we need to push for more local dialect in order to encourage people to read, or no?
Well, I think the more the merrier on all levels. Okay, so I think um, unfortunately there's no source or like official source that could tell us, statistics, how many we have books every year, etc. But you can follow and see because now it started like 10 years ago. There's a big regional prize, which is for children's literature, which is called It's a Salat Award, that is out of the Emirates. It's by the UAE EBI, which is a local chapter of this international organization called EBI, which is the International Board for Books for Children, for young people. Uh, anyway, so this regional prize actually made a lot of how to say a big leap or development in the field of children's literature in the region because it encouraged authors, illustrators, publishers to produce good quality children's books. There's a lot of debate about are people doing books to win prizes, or they're doing books for actual children and what they need. So then we'll leave this debate aside. But what I'm saying is, in general, any publisher will be very hesitant to publish a book in colloquial dialect because they want to market. It's already very difficult to sell, children's books, so they want to have a wider market beyond their borders. So they want to have a common language that is accessible by the whole region, So that's why the classical Arabic is still strong. And also, some schools, they also get the books, so they need to be in classical Arabic. Yet, there's another movement, a parallel movement of, as I said, publishers and who are specialized in colloquial books or self-publishers, like self authors and self-publishers who are doing that. but mostly the books are for children, for preschoolers, you know. So what I'm trying to say, we need both side by side. We need to have books in colloquial and so people, so the kids could transition from the colloquial to the classical, you know. At some point you have to also, there are a lot of common words between the colloquial and classical, so we need to have this graded approach in books, like you know, in English we have graded readers, etc. So this concept of starting from a colloquial simple rhymes to and moving up, you know, to classical Arabic, so little by little, it's gaining ground. It's still a lot of resistance against the colloquial books because they say that they will dilute, uh, they will threaten the classical Arabic, which is, you know, the language of poetry and literature, and you know all the arguments. But what we're saying is we don't do the colloquial books. I mean, by we, the people working in the field of children's literature, and I could mention a few. There's a Tuta Tuta, there's a Asfura books, there's I don't want to forget anyone, Lib Lib Publishing. So there are different books, publishers coming out with colloquial books, and their argument is you need to get Arabic books closer to younger children, so they engage with their language from an early age, then the transition will be easier into classical Arabic instead of introducing them to classical Arabic at the age of what, 6, 7, while they didn't have any exposure before to Arabic in a fun way. So that's the argument basically.
Hmm. Fascinating. You also mentioned self-publishing, that there are people self-publishing. What is the status of self-publishing in the Arab words? If you know, if you can talk about it, because are they using Amazon? Or is there a lot doing that? Or where do we stand when it comes to self-publishing?
There's a mix between Amazon and between just printing. You know, I'm not sure. I don't want to say incorrect information, but as I said, because a lot of the established publishers, children's publishers, are reluctant to publish in colloquial, in particular, that a lot of, you know, people who want to write books in colloquial Arabic, they self-publish or they establish their own publishing house.
And so, for you, for both of your books, you went with a traditional publisher, correct?
Yeah, so I write more for the age group, which is the middle kind of middle grade. It's like
Middle age,
between
yeah,
the
yeah,
young and the young
yeah,
adult, like the between the
yeah.
toddlers. So um, so in a way, yeah. So that's my first book. I went to Al Balsam in Egypt, which is an Egyptian publishing house specialized in children and young adult books. And the second book, actually, it was a call for books for writers to submit stories, and it was the Palestine Writing Workshop, which is a publisher in Palestine, Palestinian publisher that produces and publishes great quality books. And so I just applied with the idea, and they liked it, and I got accepted, and then we worked on it together to develop it into Jamila.
So, if you can tell us a bit about your second book, Jamila, I haven't read it, but my understanding it's about the body image of young Arab women, or if you can just tell us a bit about it and the idea, and you know what inspired you to write this book.
I've been always thinking about writing a book about self-image for young girls, in a way, growing up in the Arab region, and then also this delicate um, phase of uh, you know, being a teenager and kind of your body is changing and people commenting on your looks all the time, 24/7. Um, so I've been grappling with this issue, and when I found this opportunity, I started writing this book, and it's a story that takes place in one day, about the girl whose name is Jamila, and she wants
Mm-hmm.
to. She kind of freaks out a bit because she's every week she's invited to lunch, family lunch at her aunt, and every time, she gets comments about her looks. Why your hair is all messed up from her grandmother. She tells her, why don't wear lenses? Why do you have pimples on your face? Oh, you gained weight. No, you don't eat enough. So why, all these questions that we all know very well. So I did it in a kind of funny way, in a way. And so it takes, I don't, I will send you a copy of the book so you could read it. Anyway, she goes through the comments, and in a way, in the book, I made her answer back, like she gets flashbacks of the situation, and then she is back in the situation and she answers. And I wanted to give young girls tools on how to answer such comments in a way. And also, she gets subjected to some verbal harassment on the street and commenting, that we get subjected to. But the surprise was that some friends of mine who didn't go, because I didn't specify in the story that it takes place in a certain country, so I left it a bit open on purpose, and then to discover later from some friends who I showed the book to and explained to them and translated, and they told me, I went through the same experience, and they're not, necessarily Arab. They could be. I think I had a French friend or an Italian friend and a Spanish friend, and they all kind of went through this at some point of their life. This commenting about their were subjected always to this comments about our look. You know,
Mm. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
I still get people still comment on my looks
I
until
have
now
to
in the
say
Arab world.
it stays until now. Unfortunately,
Yeah, they always comment on my weight whenever I travel to Jordan.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
I think it's yeah. Me too. It stays until now. So, but I guess the morale of the story is also at the end. There's this notion also of unconditional love and how to appreciate what you, in a way, to kind of maybe I'll show you this one image because I think of all the negative comments and all the doubts when I wrote the text, and Khalid Jarada is the illustrator who did a great job. That all the thoughts are like little cockroaches,
Oh
sarasur,
wow.
that come to her head, you know. So it's also the
Oh wow.
visual. The visual. I really wanted to work. I love graphic novels, and I feel like they're such powerful tools, and I think we need more of them for young adults and even middle graders. So I feel like always the visual aspect in children's books is really very important. So yeah,
So I wanna talk a bit about the marketing aspect of your book. How are you marketing your books? Did you hire a marketing company? Are you doing the marketing yourself? Is it the publisher? I mean, how are you spreading the word about your work?
that's a very good question. And unfortunately, this is one of the weak points in the industry, I would say, in the
Mm,
Arab
yeah.
region, that we need more of maybe agents and marketeers that would bring forth, such books and authors and organize tours and organize, events. Um, for now, it's really at the initiative of each publishing house and their capacity. Some are better than others, and also the initiative of the author. And so it's really not organized in any way or matter, or there are no clear, I would say, journey or route. Like that you need to do this, you need to do that, 1, 2, 3, or it's not clear at all. So it's really left to each one to its own. Of course, social media and of course, Zoom and online, there's more and more online events now. And speaking of which, like my publisher for Jamila is organizing a book launch, an online book launch and discussion. And I am also invited at the bookstore to talk about the books, but it's all really depends on your initiative as an author and your connections, and also how the publisher organizes such events and their connections.
Mm. But have you been doing lots of social media push, or like you yourself, um, or you're struggling with that? What is how like what is like for you? What worked the best in terms of spreading the word about your book?
I think I always feel that I need to do more, but I'm always shy because I think it's us as women. I don't know if this is us as women or
Mm,
that we're always taken aback, or we don't speak in a comfortable manner or comfortably about our work. And I personally, I am not the best person. I'm always shy to speak about what I do. But if there's an article written about me or an event, etc., I would share it, and that's it. But I think I see other people who are doing better, like they have an author's page, or a website, and they're doing stuff, promoting their work. But so far, I'm not sure if I succeeded in promoting my work or not. I'm just
yeah.
sharing stuff, and I don't have a public profile, kind of author profile. Uh, I always tell myself I need to do that, but I feel like I'm still at the beginning because I just got started and I just have two books
Yeah.
under my belt and a third one that's translated and another one I'm working on. So I feel like I'm not worthy of having like a website or doing stuff. You know what I feel? Yeah, I feel like I always just have constant imposter syndrome in a way because I just
Of
doing this.
course, of course, you're worthy. I mean, you already published two books. I mean, that is prime time to have a website. So don't sell yourself short. Um, so in terms of the feedback, what kind of feedback did you get on the books? Did you have to deal with? I'm hoping everything was great, but sometimes as authors, it's part of the journey is we get negative feedback. Did you get any negative feedback, and how did you deal with it, and what was it about?
Um, so far, I didn't get any kind of direct negative feedback. Uh, to be honest, I haven't had this so far. People like the books, but what I feel is there are grown-ups liking the books. What I'm missing is to hear the opinion of the young readers.
Mm,
So this is
yeah,
as a
yeah.
children's author, it's always the challenge to who's your reader at the end and how do you get their feedback. And you get the feedback usually through events and book signings, and when you meet with children who read your book. Unfortunately, I didn't have this because my book just came just before Corona hit, before COVID
Yeah.
came out. And so we had a lot of things planned, but they were put on hold. And then, life happens, and I didn't get a chance to do events with children in the Arab region, for example. But I did some here in France, where I live, and it was a good, reception. Um, it spoke to a lot of people who are coming from different cultures, different backgrounds, so that was nice. But I haven't, and the other book just came out. So as I say, it's all too so fresh until now. I haven't had a chance. I really wish I could get the feedback of young readers who read the book and how they felt about it. Do they connect with it? Do they feel
Mm.
it's a good book or not? Did it speak to them? Was it boring? So or not, or maybe so that's also another thing as a children's author. This connection with your audience is important, and unfortunately, until now, I didn't have this opportunity, except the like lone message here and there from friends whose daughter or son appreciated the book, but I didn't have this engagement yet. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but I didn't get any kind of feedback from my targeted readers in a way, if you want to say.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Did you try giving it to libraries in the Arab world, school libraries, and all of that?
Well, as an author, it's not me that should be doing that. I think my publisher is doing that. So it's also this role, the different roles within the industry is, and some people, wait that the school contact them. But I know that my publishers are both publishers I work with are very keen on getting the books out and doing book fairs and but sometimes the libraries, the school libraries or the public libraries
Yeah.
do not know about books, and so there's a lot of work that needs to be done to reach schools, I would say. And in some countries, it's better than others. Unfortunately, in Egypt, it's not that great in that sense. But I know that, for example, in the UAE, maybe in Jordan and Palestine, in Lebanon, there's more connection with public libraries and school libraries.
Mm, mm. So for anyone who wants to get into the world of publishing children's book in Arabic, what kind of advice would you give them?
Okay, the advice I would give them is to um, first of all get familiar with what's being offered, what's the offer out there. Read lots of books. Um, think of yourself as a child and what kind of book you would have liked to read as a child. Um, always think when you write, don't write from your perspective. Write from the child's perspective, or whoever is your main character or which age group you're writing for. So, and also use the language that is appropriate to that age group, you know, and avoid preaching and giving moral lessons. That's also another thing. And I would say we are missing a lot of. It would be nice to have more funny Arabic books for children.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. So, what does the future hold for Miranda Bishara? What do you have in the pipeline?
So I'm working on a middle grade series now. This time inspired by my son because I did the first book and kind of the second book, a female character, and so I'm trying to write from the perspective of a 10-year-old boy. So I'm working on
Ah,
a series with again Darel Balsam. So hopefully by next year we'll have the first two books out. So yeah, crossing my fingers.
what are they about?
So it's a boy, a 10-year-old boy who lives in Cairo and goes through different, it tackles a lot of different things. It tackles each book has a different theme or different topic, and he has his little cat, which is our cat Filfil, like his confidant. And yeah, so some adventures, and through the adventures we discover some fun facts and also some issues um, that he goes through, as he like related to friendship, related to his self-image, also like related to power dynamics, gender roles, culture, traditions, so things like that. I'm still in the process of writing, so I'm still, it's changing a little bit, but that's the framework, the general framework.
Hmm.
Because
You're busy.
sorry,
You're busy.
I'm busy. Yeah, yeah, because I think that age group in between, like middle grade, we don't have a lot of fun books for them in Arabic. So I'm trying to kind of fill the gap, not alone, but there are a lot of people also, other great authors and writers doing that. But you know, we'll see. And also because my son is upset that I didn't get inspired by him.
I bet. I bet. So, Miranda, any final thoughts on the publishing, the writing routines, anything like that before we conclude?
I'm learning a lot from you. You're inspiring me. I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm really bad with routines, and I'm more of a person who, like, I get an idea, then I sit and write. But
Okay.
if I think now I need to, with more, the series and more work coming along, and if I want to write more books, I think I need to have a more kind of disciplined routine. So this is my resolution for for the coming period, to try to be more organized in terms of time management and routine. If you have any tips for me, that would be great. Um, and yeah, and I think just my advice is, if anybody is interested in the field of Arabic children's books, just get yourself familiarized, acquainted. You have the social media and website of Hadi Baby, for example. There are all other great publishers in the Arab region. There is the Etisalat Award that you could check their social media as well. So, and also all kinds of independent publishers out there who are doing great job in both colloquial and classical Arabic.
Great. So, Miranda, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sending me the book. And looking forward to reading more of your work. And best of luck to you. And for everyone who's listening or watching, thank you for listening to another episode of Read and Write with Natasha. And until we meet again, thank you.
Thank you.